Hi, I'm Jolie,
And I'm Charlie.
and welcome to Teatime Talks, the Language Addict's weekly podcast to help your English listening skills. We're currently 3 weeks into January, so we thought it'd be interesting to talk about New Year's resolutions. Did we make any this year? What do we think? Do we think they're good to make? Do we think they're a bit useless? And if we had made any, how are we doing? How are we getting on with those 21 days into the year? So, did you make any New Year's resolutions this year, Charlie?
I did. I made several actually. I usually make New Year's resolutions, but my problem is I usually don't stick to them. But so far this year, I've been doing okay. I've been doing a bit better than usual. So one of the resolutions I made was to eat less sugar because my chocolate addiction is becoming a problem at this point. And I was saying to one of my friends actually, but suspiciously this year, I received no chocolate for Christmas, like no selection boxes or anything. And so I feel like that was the universe's way of like preparing
Yeah,
me for like let's eat less
it was a
chocolate.
sign.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was a sign from the universe.
I mean, I feel like that's interesting. I feel like one of the most popular New Year's resolutions, just in general, is to eat more healthy, get fitter, eat less sugar, eat less this, drink less this. Which my own sort of moral compass, I guess, is I don't really enjoy those kind of things as much because of my own views on kind of like diet culture
Mm.
and the marketing of you should better yourself, but only better yourself if you're paying us money kind of things.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I do think that most people do at least have one sort of wellness related New Year's resolution. I think if you got no selection boxes, that was a sign from the universe.
It is incredibly weird because I feel like usually at least we receive a couple or even just one or two. My mum got one from one of her friends at work, but this like we finished it before Christmas, so genuinely by the time Christmas come, we had no chocolate. Which yeah must have been a sign from the universe. But I do think you're right in the sense that I think the problem with like fitness related New Year's resolutions is that they just never end up really working for most people because it's such like a crash thing of like okay it's new year I need to start now and do it now, and then that momentum just never works because I think the problem with a lot of New Year's resolutions as well is that obviously in early January you're not at work or at school or whatever. It's a lot easier to like focus on things, but I feel like it's a lot harder to stick to resolutions alongside having your regular routine as well. I don't have much of a routine right now, so it hasn't been as bad for me, but yeah. I think I'm managing okay without the chocolate. I'm still eating chocolate. I've just kind of reduced it because it was getting to be concerning. Um, but one of my other resolutions, which is kind of related, is to walk more. Because I just sit down too much, and my Fitbit is constantly just reminding me like you need to get up and do something. And I do think my Fitbit is right on this occasion.
I do think you made a very good point in that the problem with New Year's resolutions is it's almost as though people get to January 1st and it's like, we need to do this, this, and this, and this. And it's like, if you haven't already been doing it, you're not going to be able to start straight away, full on, and be able to keep that up.
Yeah.
Like, I guess another thing that maybe in this conversation, I'm the anti and anti New Year's resolution person, and you're maybe the more for New Year's resolutions. Mainly just because I think like you can start a New Year's resolution or just a resolution any point of the year. Like I feel like the stress of like doing it at New Year's and being so hard on okay from January 1st we're going to do this. It can be very stressful, and I think what you said about there being a routine and you're still on Christmas holiday a lot of the time when it's New Year's, so it's easy to implement these things, and as soon as you go back to any sort of routine, whether that be school, whether that be work, it's kind of harder to keep doing those things that you did, and then instantly you kind of lose faith in yourself, or you get a bit sad because you're like, well, I've already kind of failed, but you haven't failed, you've just it's a whole thing of adapting to the situation that you're in. And I think what you're doing is very good actually, in terms of like, you're not cutting chocolate out of your life, you're just eating less of it.
Mm.
I think it's very, people go, I'm going to cut it out, I'm going to stop. And it's like, no, because your body is used to having it, or like you're used to doing stuff. You can't, as stupid as it sounds, even stuff like chocolate, like it's hard to cold turkey things.
Yeah.
It's all about kind of weaning yourself off of it and being like, okay, realistically, am I gonna be, if I'm eating 5 chocolate bars a day, which I'm not saying you did, but like,
It wasn't far off. I do think you're right though. I think one of the main problems with New Year's resolutions is a lot of the time they're just unrealistic.
yeah,
And
literally, yeah.
I have had that problem myself in years past of being like, okay, January 1st, I'm going to completely change my life. And it's like, that's just not realistic.
It's not.
I think in the lead up to New Year's, it feels like a big fresh start because, you're on holiday, everything feels new, and then you have New Year's, and it's like, okay, wow, it's a new year. And it all feels very new and exciting for about 2 days.
Mhm.
And then you kind of go back into your routine and realize, oh, it's just kind of the same week as it was last week. Like, it might be a new year, but it doesn't really change that much. And I think people put a lot of expectations on, like, okay, it's a new year, it's a new me. But I just don't think it's really realistic to try and change your entire life in the space of a week because it's just not going to work.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, that's kind of what I was saying with the whole, like, if you eat 5 chocolate bars a day, if you then go, I'm not going to eat anything, you're not going to do it because you're like going from 5 to 0 in 24 hours, which is insane. Like, but if you go, I'm going to give myself one a day or two a day, which is still quite low, like, you're more likely to do that. And I, I'm, I don't get seasonal depression, or I don't really get the seasonal blues, which is the thing, people tend to have, because I'm actually like an autumn and winter girly. Like, that's my favorite time of the year. But I do get sad at January. January is quite a bleak time for a lot of people, and I think it's uh, um. I know I myself get it with New Year's. I'm like, oh, it's another year. Like, I'm getting older. Everyone's getting older. It's sad. Like, who knows what can happen this year, I guess, because when you get to December, I don't know if you feel the same, but sometimes I sometimes sit there and I think, okay, we've made it through this year, like, my family's made it through this year, like, I mean, obviously anything can change at the drop of a hat, but you kind of like, okay, we've survived, and then you get to January, like, oh my god, we've got 12 months, who knows what's going to happen. So if you're then like setting yourself such a hard target and instantly failing 2 days in because it's just not realistic, that's just not going to help the fact that you're already kind of a bit sad that it's January, it's the end of Christmas, oh, we're going to go back to work, we're going to go back to school. You're not helping yourself. So I do think, like, resolution wise, like, people try with the most purest intent, but they just don't do it realistically, and that's where people downfall. And that's where actually I've kind of changed my outlook this year. I've never really made New Year's resolutions in the past because I'm not really someone that likes it, but I have decided that I'm gonna make things that I want to do this year. Not New Year's resolutions in the fact that it's like I'm gonna stop doing something, or I'm gonna, from this day I'm gonna not do something, or I'm gonna do something from this day. More so, just by the end of this year, I would have liked to do these things, which actually you inspired me to do because you created kind of like not a bingo card, but almost like I want to do these things by this year. Like,
Sort of.
yeah. So, do you want to maybe speak a bit about that?
Yeah, so I think that was something I saw on maybe TikTok or somewhere on the internet last year. Because, as much as like New Year's I feel is a really bad time to like start new things, I actually started properly my new journal last year, 2024, like Christmas time. And so that was like my New Year's like thing that I was doing. And I saw that everyone was doing these bingo cards rather than resolutions, and I thought, oh, that's kind of fun. So I sat down and made a bingo card of like, okay, what do I want to do this year? Like, it doesn't have to be now, but like, by the end of this year, maybe I will have done some of these things. Some of them were like definites. Like the one I put in the middle as like the free one was like graduate. Not that I'm saying I was definitely gonna, but I was like, okay,
Yeah.
hopefully. And then I put some more aspirational ones where it's like, I'm not forcing myself to do this, but maybe I will. For example, like piercing my ears or dye my hair or something like that. Learning to drive, just a few random things, going to a concert. Like, a lot of them were just fun things. So I feel like a lot of resolutions and plans for New Year's are always like very strict, not very fun. I feel like it's also important to schedule in fun things to do with your time.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I think it's so much easier and less stress if you do it that way.
Mm.
To sit yourself down and almost scold yourself and be like, right, you're not going to do this from now on. From this day on, you're not going to. It's like you're already kind of starting out on the back foot, you know? So I think the idea of New Year's resolutions deep down is a very kind of wholesome and nice one. You know, what can I do this year that I haven't done before? What can I do to improve myself, or just what can I do that maybe I've not had chance to do before? I think they can get a bit toxic,
Mm.
maybe.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, the bingo card I just really thought was so good because it's like I don't have a time limit on when I need to do this. If I don't do it in the first week of January, I've not failed anything.
Mm.
And as you said, like you can include fun things because resolutions, I think, also don't have to be serious. Like
Yeah.
they don't have to be huge things. Like I'm gonna lose weight, or I'm gonna eat better, or I'm gonna get like a promotion or something. Like it doesn't have to be really serious things. It can be like small stuff. Like this year, I'm gonna go to a concert, as you said, or this year I'm gonna go to this one place that I've wanted to go for so long. It's just nice things like that, and I think that's why that bingo card, like instantly, I was like, I really want to do that because it's kind of like things that I wanted to do anyway.
Mm.
That maybe now I've got it, and I'm like, let's do it. Like it's a
Mm.
motivation to do it, which I guess you could say is what New Year's resolutions is. But I don't know. I feel like the bingo card just kind of wraps it up a lot more nicely.
Yeah.
Um, so I actually haven't put mine down onto paper yet, but I already kind of like in my head know which ones they are, and a few of them I think are the same as yours because you showed me what yours was, and I was kind of like, I want to do that as well. So one of them is I want to get a new friend this year, which kind of sounds like a bit of a strange one, but like I just want to meet someone new, like make a new friend from. I feel like you can get kind of tied up in your circles,
Mm.
and as you get older, it's a lot harder to make new friends. And even though we're only like 23, well, 24 this year, which is terrifying, but it is just harder to make friends. And it's kind of like, but I want to make a new friend because I've never been of the idea that the amount of friends you have is more telling than the quality of
Mm.
friends. Like I don't think if you have 20 friends, that's any better than someone that has 3 friends, because I wouldn't say I have that many friends, but the friends I do have are really good and they're lifelong friends, you know. But it doesn't mean that like I don't want to meet new people, because it's just interesting to
Mm.
meet new people from all walks of life and be able to experience things with new people. So yeah, that's one of my new ones, and I'm pretty sure if I remember rightly, that was also one of your ones as well.
Yeah, it was, and I can't remember if I saw that one somewhere or I just thought of it. I think maybe I just thought of it, but yeah, I feel like it's one of those where, like you say, as crazy as it sounds, because we're still very young, but like once you're not like in a specific set environment where you're
Yeah.
likely to meet people, I think it is harder to make friends. And when I was a teenager, I made so many friends with so many random people, just like on the internet or at like Comic Con or whatever. Like I had so many random friends from so many walks of life, and I don't really have that anymore, which isn't like a problem because I have friends and I like my friends. But I just always think,
Yeah, this is not like I need new friends because there's something wrong. This is just a
yeah,
it's nice to be able to make new friends kind of thing, you know. It's a positive.
yeah, I just think even if it's not friends, just meeting new people
Yeah.
is always fun. Like sometimes when I'm just a bit like in a slump and I go at the house and I just have like a slightly nice interaction with like a shopkeeper or something, it just makes me a bit happier. Like I feel like I, being chronically online as I am, I feel like sometimes we forget how important like casual human interaction is. Even if you don't know the person
Yeah.
or if you're not friends, I feel like it's very important to keep that. So I just feel like trying something new or like meeting some new people is always a nice thing to do. Whether you get close with them or not, it's just important to talk to people.
Mhm.
Um, Other resolutions that I had on the sort of like bingo board, I can't remember the ones from this year, but I had a lot from last year. And one of the good things about the bingo board again is that like it got to the end of the year and I was like, oh, I can go back and look at my bingo board, and I did a lot more of them than I expected. Um, like I tallied them all up and counted how many I did, and it's kind of a nice way of like reminiscing on the year and being like, oh, look how many things I did.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's again like it's a kind of physical way you can look back and be like, because I think it's very easy to get to the end of the year and think, "What? Oh, I didn't do that this year. Oh, I didn't. I wasn't able to do that." And then you forget how much stuff you actually did. And so it's kind of nice to be able to physically see that. I guess on the bingo board, as you said, like cross it off and be like, "I did that." Like, um, one of the other bingo cards again, which I know is the exact same for you, which you're already kind of on the journey with actually, is driving.
Yeah.
So I want to drive this year. I want to learn to drive. I want to be able to have a car. I mean, I kind of need one for personal situations. I just kind of I will need a car. So it's more so not more so necessity because I've wanted to drive for a long time. I think I feel people I know that can drive always say, "Oh, yeah, but there's just public transport or something." I'm like, "Yeah, but you have the option." I don't have the option. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You actually passed your theory test not very long ago,
I did.
and you smashed it. Um, so yeah, I know that you also want to further along your driving test this year. Well, not driving test, driving journey. One might say this year.
Yeah, that is true. It got to like once we'd graduated last year, and I was like, I need to do something. Like, I need to have something to work towards all the time. I think like some sort of like ongoing, just like end goal kind of thing. And so I started doing the theory, and then it got to the point where I was like, I need to just book a test because otherwise I'm not gonna get a move on with it. So I just was like, okay, next month I'm doing it, and I booked it, and I passed it luckily. Um, I am kind of terrified of driving, not gonna lie. I do not enjoy the idea of driving. However, I do fear it is something I need to do. Um, and I feel like ever since we hit like 17, 18, and we technically could take the driving test, it's been all anyone talked about in my like school and friend circle was like, okay, who's driving, who's doing their test, and all this and that. I'm glad I waited until now because I genuinely just don't really think I wanted to do it before now. I don't think I necessarily needed to, and I feel like it would have kind of just added onto the stress of like uni stuff. Um, I don't think it's right that people with cars tend to be like, oh, I hate cars and I hate driving and all that. It's like, okay, fair enough, I guess. But I feel like people overlook how limited public transport can be. Not to mention, it's not cheap. It's really not. Like a lot of the time, like if you look at train tickets to London, London is not that far in the car. It's really not. But the train tickets are probably more expensive than petrol would be in some cases. And also, I was saying this to someone on the internet because they were just like not getting my point when I was saying like we don't live in like an overly interesting, in my opinion, area of the UK in terms of things to do and just kind of like we don't live near like any sort of national parks really or anything like that.
Well, we do live near, but it's not near enough for public
Yeah.
transport. Do you know what I mean? Like in the car, it takes like half an hour to an hour to get some really cool places. But if you don't have that car, you can't get it because the public transport doesn't go there, and
Yeah.
no one's spending 2 hours to go on public transport to go to a park. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's the problem. Like, if you live in Manchester, maybe you can get a train to the Lake District and it's fine. But we don't really. The problem is that a lot of the trains just don't really go to places like that.
Yeah.
Like, you're never going to be able to get a train, and it's just going to take you to the middle of like somewhere like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like there are a lot of situations where if you want to get somewhere, genuinely, you do need a car. And like, this isn't even just like a UK problem. Like, Japan has incredible public transport, like so comprehensive and reasonably priced, in my opinion. But when I was in Japan, there was a place I really wanted to go to. And it just turns out because there's just mountains in the way, you just can't get there on a train and you need to drive. And I was like, oh, well, I can't drive. And I couldn't even have wanted to because I don't live here. So, yeah, I feel like driving is a necessity. And I feel like it's just kind of like a life. I don't know, like it's kind of a state. Like, I'm not saying everyone needs to get a license or drive. I'm very not of that opinion. But I do think, in terms of like just general kind of life goals, in terms of like finishing school or doing this or doing that, I feel like it's just one of those things I need to do because otherwise, if I don't just tell myself, okay, I need to do it, I just never will
Yeah.
get around to doing it. And as well, just so many jobs and things like that require driving. So I just think even if I don't get a car or even if I don't drive regularly, having a license is just a good thing to have.
Yeah. No, just as you said, just having the license and the ability to is so much more valuable than people realize. We kind of got screwed over a little bit in terms of like driving because we in the UK you can start learning to drive and drive from the age of 17. Now me and you turned 17 in October of 2020 October 2019. 2 months later, COVID hit. And that just meant that for a good like year and a half, you couldn't really start to learn to drive. And then if you wanted to learn to drive, as soon as you started to, maybe from 2021 onwards, the backlog from people, because a year and a half worth of learners wanting to do their test and to drive and to learn, the backlog just meant you just couldn't get any. And it's not cheap
No.
either. So it's very easily like for us to kind of have it slip by us.
Mm.
Um, so because COVID got in the way, and then 2021 hit, we started university, and we commuted to university on public transport, and there really our university was not that easily accessible by car. Like
Mm.
either way, you had to go through the middle of Birmingham city centre, and that's not something anyone wants to do. So if it's cheaper and more accessible to go by public transport, then there's no point like getting the car. So then now it turns and we're here. And I mean, I'm not saying everyone can learn to drive. Like I would say half of the people I know our age can't drive.
I would say half of the people I know shouldn't drive.
That is also true. I do not know how a lot of people that I went to school with got their license, but we'll move on from that. Um, but yeah, it's just kind of like, as you said, one of those things that kind of needs to be not needs to be done. This is subjective to people. We appreciate that, but in terms of us, it kind of needs to be done. So that is something I would say is a resolution that we're already kind of positively moving on. 3 weeks into January, I'm getting stuff ready to, start revising for a theory test. You've already passed your theory test. Um, so I'd say that's pretty positive so far. What was another one of your resolutions, or maybe we should, bingo card squares as we
Yeah.
will.
So one of my other ones, which I feel like in my head I've kind of been meaning to do for ages and just did not have the energy for it, is I want to read more books. And I find that it's important to be specific with more and like goals like that. I feel like a lot of resolutions are like, oh, eat less this, eat more this. I feel like it's important to be very specific, otherwise I just won't do it. So my goal is 12 books in the year, aka one book a month. Because as much as I do enjoy reading, I just throughout university we had enough reading to do,
Yeah.
so I couldn't bring myself to read for enjoyment because we were just so busy anyway. I had to read like copious amounts of really complicated Russian books for my dissertation and things like that. So I just couldn't really enjoy reading. So yeah, my new goal is to read more for enjoyment. And I have made some progress. I have yet to finish January's book, but I'm getting there. And it's quite a long book to be fair. I maybe should have chosen a more reasonably lengthed. That's not a word. A book with more reasonable length to start with.
What book is it, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah. It's called Butter, and
Oh yeah, I think I've heard that. I think I've heard that book.
yeah, it really caught my attention whenever I went to like Waterstones because it's just like bright yellow, which I
Yeah.
feel like is good marketing. And then I managed to get some books for like Christmas, and so I got that one, and it's quite long. It's like 500 pages nearly, and it's the first one of the reasons I wanted to read it as well. Apart from it just looking interesting, is that it's a Japanese book, and like I've read a lot of Russian books because obviously I speak Russian, do Russian literature modules and all that, but I just never really got around to reading any Japanese literature. And so I thought, it's a modern one and it seems popular, so maybe it'll be a good read. I'm like 100 pages in right now, and I would like to finish it before the end of this month. So the next few days, I'm really going to lock in and do like 100 pages a day if I can. So far, it's interesting. It's definitely like you need to get into the swing of it a bit. Like, it's a bit like different to what you'd expect, obviously, because it's a translated book as well. But yeah, so far, it's interesting, and I'm glad I picked it.
I am always going to be a supporter of people reading more books. I love reading books. I don't allow myself enough time to read books as much as I would like to. But I actually read a book. I couldn't sleep the other night, and I read a book in one night. Which I'm one of those people where I can't. I'm not really someone that will read books in increments. If I'm going to read a book, if it doesn't grab me, I'll stop reading it for a time being and move on to another book, which I know might offend some people for doing that. But most of the time, I'm quite selective in that I can kind of tell if I'm going to like a book by its blurb. And so a lot of the time I start a book and I'm instantly hooked, and so I don't put it out until I read it. So that's why I read books quite quickly, like just because I feel like a lot of people maybe would read a chapter before bed. I'm like, no, I need to just read it all. Um, so yeah, I actually read the first book of the year that I read um, the other day is called The Doll Factory. Um, and I've had it on my shelf for so long. I got it for Christmas. I want to say 2024, maybe even 2023, because I have a long list of books. Every time someone says, you know, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want for your birthday? I have a long range of books. I'm like, pick one of these. I am happy to read one of these. But because I've got so many, and then obviously university came about, and you don't really have time at university to read books for leisure. So, but I've only really got round to starting to read them now, thankfully. But it was really good, and it was a lot different to what I thought it was going to be. I don't know what I don't really remember why I picked it for some reason, but I just read it and I really enjoyed it, and it was really good. I would highly recommend it. You can borrow it afterwards if you would like to,
Oh yeah.
for to be your February book. But yeah, I think that's an amazing one, and I feel like a lot of people probably would say the same thing. Um, Another one of my, I mean, kind of going on the roots, as we said, to do with hobbies. We run a channel called Language Attic, so you can probably tell that we like languages. So one of my bingo cards is to start learning a new language, which
Ooh.
maybe I should get fluent in the other three before I start learning a new one, but I don't care. Um, Technically, I wouldn't say it's a new one because I began learning it's Korean. I began learning Korean in like 2017.
Mm.
Um, and then I just got to GCSE and completely forgot about it. Not forgot about it, I just didn't have time for it. And then went into uni and had three languages, and it was like, well, you know, I've already got my hands full with these ones, but would really like to get back into Korean. So, yeah, that's also one of my bingo cards this year is to at least get back to a, I would say, adequate level of Korean.
Yeah, that is a good one. I think I added learn a new language to my bingo board as well, which is a bit of a rogue one because I don't have a plan in mind of like, okay, I'm going to do this language. I don't even know if I'm going to do it, but I feel like I need to get back to the joy and whimsy of learning
Yeah.
languages because I feel like in university it's quite like a serious thing and it kind of took some of the enjoyment out of it. Whereas the reason I liked it in the first place, like when I was like 15, 16, I would just go home and just like learn random bits of random languages. Like it
Yeah.
didn't have to be a serious thing. I would learn a bit of Korean, I'd learn a bit of Japanese, I'd learn a bit of like Indonesian. Like I would just be doing anything for the fun of it more than anything. And so I feel like I need to get back into that. Um, I would like to learn a bit of Korean, but I'm sort of in two minds about that because on one hand, I already speak Japanese and the grammar's quite similar and some of the vocab's quite similar. So I feel like the more I hear, like the more I've learned Japanese, the more I kind of implicitly understand Korean a little bit. But at the same time, I feel like I listen to so much Korean music and watch so much Korean media that I don't know if it would like almost alarm me to be able to understand it. Like I feel like I'd be like, "Whoa, I don't need to know what's going on here." Um, Although one of my other plans that I kind of made last year and didn't get round to, so maybe I'll do that this year, is I kind of want to get to N3 level Japanese because you can take like specific level tests for Japanese. And it's kind of hard to say what level I'm at, just from university because we didn't really go by like levels as such. But when I was in Japan, we kind of did like a mixture of like levels, but it was sort of like N3 ish level, which is sort of like it goes from N5 being the lowest to N1, which is the highest. And we were sort of like N3 ish, and I sort of did some of that and some of like other stuff. And so I think I do really want to get better at Japanese just because I do see myself going back to Japan in the future, and I really just want to get good at it. So I would like to, yeah, get on it with Japanese and actually like hit that level properly.
I think that is a very achievable one for you, to be fair. I mean, I think your Japanese is amazing anyway. But I'm just trying to think of like some more very quick ones that I could kind of think about in terms of what I would like to have achieved maybe by this time next year. I would like to have gone to more gigs,
Yeah.
more live music events. I would really like to have gone and seen more. I really would have liked to have seen more live music because I love it and I just never had the chance. And I think this kind of leans into the other one where it's like I want to not be scared of doing stuff by myself. I want to be if there's a gig that I want to go to but no one else wants to go with me, I'm just like just go by myself. Like it's I would like to do more stuff like that and kind of not let things hold me back in that way. I would also really like to maybe start saving money for my own place would be a nice one. Maybe some more light-hearted ones. I'd like to start playing some sort of new game.
Mm.
So my partner plays Magic the Gathering, and there's a Disney kind of trading card game called Lorcana, which I am kind of interested in. I want to do some more research into it. So I'd like to join some sort of like not club, but like I know that there's groups that play it, and do something along those lines. Join a new group, join a new club,
Yeah.
maybe, and also maybe begin playing like a sport because I know me and you have talked before. It'd be like fun to maybe like start playing badminton
Yeah.
together or like go swimming together or something. So yeah, I'd say those are my quick other three that I would like to have achieved by next year. Um, Very quickly, do you have three other ones that you would like to have done?
Yeah, some of the ones you said are kind of similar to me, to be fair. Like, I feel like I have a lot of sort of like overarching goals that are a bit vague, but I would like to work towards them. One of the ones I sort of like said to myself at the end of last year was, again, very vague goal, but I just want to be more confident this year, in the sense that, like, in like a self assured sense. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like whenever I'm out in public, I'm convinced that everyone's thinking I'm the most suspicious person in the world and that I'm doing something I shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So I feel like one of my goals for like this year is just to be like, I'm a grown adult, I can do what I want, and if people tell me off, they can tell me off, and that's fine. But I just need to be like, I can do this. This is fine. Like, I can do whatever I want, which not technically true, but in the sense of like, I'm an adult, I
Yeah,
can make
yeah,
decisions as long as I'm not breaking the law. It's fine. And yeah, I also kind of wanted to play some more games because I used to be a real big gamer. And again, with the club thing, I used to sort of like have a group of people I used to play Minecraft with, and that was really fun. So I would like to, yeah, get back into a game, maybe like join some sort of group or even just like a casual gathering of people. I don't know, something along those lines. And for the third one, I would like to. Again, this is a very like New Year's resolution one, but I do mean it long term. I would just like to exercise more in general, like say do a sport maybe. Like I used to do volleyball and I loved it so much. And volleyball is a bit extreme for me nowadays. But just doing some sort of like casual sport, or like going for walks more often. I do think going for walks is a good one. Because I just like I say, I need to get more steps in, um, and build my endurance a bit. And so yeah, maybe like find some like nice trails or like
yeah.
somewhere to go on a walk.
Yeah, that's one that I thought that kind of links into one I thought of is that I would like to do more sketching,
Oh
more
yeah.
art,
Yeah, yeah.
more just I love art so much and I've always inherently been an artist and I just really wish I'd give myself more time to be able to do that. And I thought I just want to get like a little sketchbook, a little pot, not really a pot, but like a little palette of like watercolors or pencils, and let's just go on a walk. And it doesn't have to be the most majestic place, but just sit down and sketch. And
Yeah.
I'd really like to do that. Um, so yeah, so hopefully, maybe this time next year, this January 2027, we'll listen back to this podcast and we'll do a review of did we achieve the things that we said we wanted to achieve? Have we ticked all the boxes? Have we at least managed to do one? Have we at least managed to do two? Who knows? Um, but yeah, so I think that's going to be interesting to see where we are this time next year and see how well we have to hear ourselves 1 year on. It
Yeah.
will be quite interesting. Um, so we hope you guys enjoyed this week's podcast. Let us know in the comments what are your New Year's resolutions, what are your 2026 bingo card um ideas, events that you want to do, and we will see you all in the next podcast.
Bye.